What has been your favorite character to play overall? Because I know you've got a body of work. What's been your favorite character?
My two favorite characters were both on stage.
Oh, Broadway.
Well, I mean, can I even say, does Balki even count? Because he just became an actual person. He wasn't even a character anymore.
Of course he counts. He counts the most.
I'll tell you the little story that explains everything about that character.
Okay.
Because he ceased to be a character to me and to anybody else. I was standing in an airport about 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And there was a ruckus because somebody famous had gotten off a plane a couple of gates down. And there was a big tall guy standing next to me, literally like 6'7", and he could see who it was. And I couldn't. I wasn't all that interested, but I saw everybody looking. So my eyes went over there. And he got excited and he nudged me really hard in the ribs, and he goes, "Balki, look, it's Gregory Hines." So Balki to him was a person and Gregory Hines was an actor. And that basically is as close as it gets to me explaining to you. Like, so I always say two things. People, I'm doing an interview soon with the Yale Film Studies, and they said, "Well, what's your favorite movie?" And I said, "Well, my favorite movie is The Wizard of Oz, but I can, it's almost like not a movie. It's more of a collective unconscious. I mean, is that really an actual film anymore, or is that just in our
staple?
DNA? It's in our DNA. What is it? And so I never really include Balki when somebody says, "What's your favorite character?" because I played him so long, and he
took a life of his own.
He was me without any filter. I mean, he was me without any filter at all. That's who I would be if I, didn't know what I know about the world. If I didn't know what I know about the world, if somebody came and stripped off my knowledge and my armor, that's who I would be. So that doesn't count as a character.
So Bronson,
maybe it did once upon a time.
Bronson with naivety, you're saying basically.
Bronson with zero. Bronson at 2.5, I guess.
Got it.
Before we start to put on those layers before we start to acquire those layers of, how cute little kids are at the park, and they're just all eyes and they're sweet. And if you want to hug them, they'll hug you. And then by the time they get to be 5, they know they're not supposed to.
Right.
But that's all I ever did for that character, besides the accent, which was easy. But most of the rest was like before I learned how to hold people at arm's length, because he didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Did it ever annoy you when people would just call you Balki? Like, how
it did at the beginning, because I was still new enough to the business that I remembered what it was like to be a regular person. So I didn't like it, because it was too new of an experience. Like, that's not my name. But I'll tell you when I got over that. I was on a long, very, very hot line in Athens, waiting to ship home some stuff I had bought so I could go get on a plane. And they did not, there was a Greek American woman online behind me who kept calling me Balki. And I kept just thinking, oh, please stop it. And I said to her a couple of times that, that's not my name. And she just kind of rolled right over me. Anyway, she just kept calling me Balki, and I was getting a little steam was coming out of my ears. But then when I got to the window with these packages, the guy said to me in Greek, he didn't speak any English. He said, the equivalent of, well, no, these aren't packed correctly, and you have to go off and repack them and get back on the line. And that literally I would have had to, So this woman who'd been doing this stepped up right up to the guy and said to him in rapid fire Greek, "This guy is an actor, and he plays a wonderful character that's the Mediterranean and warm and wonderful, and just cut him a break right now." And so the guy took my packages and rewrapped them. And so that was my big lesson, that, maybe I should ease up about it, because she was calling me Balki, and I was getting hot under the collar, but then her connection with Balki really saved the day. And, it's a learning curve. I mean, at the beginning of one's career, it's blurring the lines, and you don't love that at first. You don't love being stared at first either. You just don't, you're too new to it. So you think, everyone knows that staring is rude. Why are you staring at me? And then one day you're just like, Tom Hanks has a fun thing that he does, which is if someone's staring, he lets them stare for, I don't know, a minute and a half, or however, like 5 times what any of the rest of us could stand. And then he does this. Like, that's enough. He does it sweetly, like he's talking to a family member, but it's like, okay, so now we're done with that. And then I think a lot of times they stop. But that's his thing, is you got to give them some leeway. And then finally it's like, hey, one thing I never did get used to was, because everybody figured that Balki was going to just have no boundaries at all. So people would come up behind me at when I was walking on Madison Avenue, and just throw their arms around me from behind and give me a big bear hug. And that I never got used to, because it's like, well, that's my back. I don't know you, and I can't see you. And I would kind of shuffle them off. Pardon me?
I said, hello, creeper. Leave me alone.
But, it's weird, because they feel that they know you and you don't know them, but you have to negotiate it. I mean, those days are long past. There was a time when I couldn't do, it's such a long time ago, but I couldn't do anything at all. Nothing.
Really?
Well, I was public property, as one is, and I was too young to understand it or deal with it. And come to think of it, if and when it happens again, I don't think one ever does. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, how do you get used to that?
But, it's like, there's certain things in life that are just not natural, but you can get used to them. I mean, singing's not natural either. You have to take this huge breath and then not use any of it. And you get used to it.